Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips. Joining me as always is Jeff Torrey. And today we have our Deep Sleepers episode, which is kind of fun. I actually enjoy this one. I like looking down the list and seeing all the players who, you know, there might be a reason why they could possibly become some fantasy relevant this year. Right now, these guys are not fantasy relevant at all. Starting the year, we're not ranking them that way. And kind of on our list, I don't even know how deep. We haven't compared the list yet, but we're down into like 50 plus for running back and like 60 plus for wide receiver, kind of a range. Like we're going way, way down there. These guys are a lot of these guys are not going to be drafted, or if they are, they're complete 100% last round guys. So that's kind of
exactly. So yeah, these guys could really come out of nowhere to be useful on your team. That's what we're kind of going for.
Yep. That's what we're looking at here. But make sure you visit us at Twitter, the FF Prophet, Instagram, Fantasy Football Prophet. Once we'll make an Instagram post on our list here, our top 5 list. I'm interested to see reaction. I always find that very fascinating. See if people agree with us on our deep sleepers. And then also you can check out our website, fantasyfootballprophet.com. But before we get into the list here, Jeff, I have a new segment. Another new segment. And again, I think we've talked about this before. We're not terribly creative with names on segments. I feel like we should have like a voice, like the big announcer voice come in right now and like hit a button, say whatever my segment is.
I feel like it should be a button that just says Craig's random segment. Well, I feel like we changed it.
It would come in and be like, this is my title for this one. Info to remember.
Ooh.
Right. Fancy, right? Can you imagine the big announcer voice coming in and saying that? All right. And the info to remember is we're constantly bringing this up on our last couple shows we've done. Started with the breakouts. We even talked about it in our Moncrief Crabtree episode. And it's the whole idea of the third-year receiver breakout / fourth-year receiver breakout. And we're just trying to get that into people's minds is kind of that's why it's info to remember. Remember this info. Because I'm trying to get this into people's minds when you're looking at your drafts. Maybe we're not going to 100% be right on all these guys and who could break out, but that's what I'm saying. Look at these players and who could break out possibly. Third, fourth-year receivers are a big one to go after. Just list off some guys here. Third-year receivers that had a big step in their third year. Des Bryant was a third-year breakout. DeAndre Hopkins was a third-year breakout. Demaryius Thomas was a third-year breakout. Eric Decker, Roddy White. You can go down the list like even deeper than that. Then, like we said, Antonio Brown was a fourth-year breakout. There's a lot of these big-time players that broke out third, fourth years. And I'm saying that because I probably have 3 guys on this list that are third and fourth-year guys, which,
And we won't be able to look this up right away. But actually a very interesting point, too, because every single one of those guys, obviously very talented, highly, sought after in the NFL draft. But most of them were not the number 1 wide receiver right away. I'm trying to think you named Julio, right?
Julio was behind Roddy White.
Right. Dez was behind, I think, Williams at the time. Roy Williams. Yep.
Obviously,
Antonio Brown was behind multiple people.
Yep.
Decker. Exactly.
I think Decker and Thomas broke out like the same year. It was because of Peyton Manning, maybe, but still, maybe they went from Tebow to Manning. Maybe
that's another interesting one. So when they finally get that, finally going to get a lion's share of the receptions.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do. So get that information in your head, these kind of players. And actually, I'm kind of curious some of the other third-year guys coming into their third year. Amari Cooper's coming into his third year.
Yeah, we're big on him.
Devontae Parker's coming into his third year. Talked about,
I think he's a breakout.
Jamison Crowder, I think, is coming into his third year.
Yeah, he did I'm liking him too.
Kevin White's coming into his third year. Maybe. Can you consider it to be his third year?
Would Terrell Pryor be considered his second year? Or
that's Devin Funchess is coming into his third year.
Yeah, I'm not too high.
I've said Funchess' name a couple times now on different shows. I don't know why.
I do not know why.
But those are just some of the guys that are those are kind of guys that just maybe be interested in. There's some other ones that never panned out. Dorial Green Beckham, been released.
Yeah.
Nelson Aguilar. Tyler Lockett's a third-year guy. That's a one to be kind of watching, maybe. Tyler Lockett could be something. That's an interesting one, Those are just some of the guys. Keep those guys in mind and know that, like, third-year receivers, they can break out. Stephon Diggs is a third-year receiver. There's a lot of these guys that could make a bigger leap this year. But that's just something, I guess just remember as we're going, as you're in your drafts, and if you need to pick up a guy like, late in your draft and it's a cheap guy and you just want to add to your bench and get some potential, look at those guys. So, and I'll have a couple more for you here that, especially in deeper leagues, you might want to get to. Well, let's just get started, Jeff. You're number 5.
Number 5 for my deep sleeper list. And this guy is number 5 because he is pretty deep. So he's very deep, but this guy is Kenny Galladay.
Oh, yeah.
So he's going to be the Lions' number 3 wide receiver. Yep. He is going to be a rookie. But as you know, Stafford's very capable. And they do have Ebron and Golden Tate. And help me with their number 2.
Marvin Jones.
Marvin Jones. That's how much I blocked him out of my mind
because
he was
on your team
he burned me so badly. But Tate and Marvin Jones were both very, very up and down. Tate didn't come on until the end of the year. Marvin Jones didn't do anything in the second half of the year.
Brutal.
Ebron hasn't really come on yet. And Galladay comes in here.
Bolden's gone, yeah.
Yeah, he comes in here, and he is a very tall guy that has some speed. You take it with a grain of salt, but they seem to be impressed with him so far. And it just seems like a possible situation where he could work himself into a nice little share of the pie, if you will. So he's my number 5 guy on my deep sleeper list.
Yeah, and I've actually been interested in him too. It's just we haven't had this is the first time we've really had a chance to talk about him because there's been no reason to talk about him.
And he went to a smaller school too, so it's kind of like he's really flying under the radar.
He is, and I've actually been I've been targeting more for our dynasty league in like a 3rd round dynasty pick kind of a thing. Guy I think would be really good, but he's definitely got to look out for just in the regular draft. Was he ranked 94th right now?
Yeah,
so he is
very deep.
100% undraftable in a 10-team league. He won't be drafted in a 10-team league, probably. No. But this is he has that. There is a lot of potential there. It really is.
And he was a 3rd round pick, so it's not like a throwaway pick by any means.
No, not at all. And there's a lot there. There could be, and that's what this list is. We don't know these guys. These guys aren't probably on your waiver wire to start the year. You just watch them. But I like that one a lot, actually. I think there's some. Marvin Jones didn't show much in the second half of last year, so
no, he really didn't.
They have a good offense. That's a good one. All right, my number 5 is going to be Rex Burkhead.
Okay.
He's the 59th ranked running back. This kind of contradicts my Mike Gillislee breakout, but it's not like I'm predicting this.
I was really waiting for one of us to throw a Patriots running back on there and just be like the other guy's like, just back away slowly.
But that's why he's my number 5, and I'm not predicting anything at all. I don't necessarily think he's going to be like.
Do you know what he's ranked right now?
He's 59th right now. But that's the thing. They signed him in the offseason, yes, but they signed him before they got Gillislee. They wanted Gillislee later on. It's the Patriots, though. And would it 100% shock you if by week 1 or 2, Rex Burkhead is the lead back and Gillislee is just like a goal line guy? I wouldn't be shocked.
Nothing would shock me about
that's why it's when you're going this far down the list, it's a guy that, he is asleep. There's a chance, there's a better than 0 chance that he becomes a productive player. And if he gets any kind of workload on that offense, he becomes, very valuable quickly. Yeah. I'm definitely not predicting this. It's just, I want to throw him out there at my 5th because
he's a sleeper.
He was great at the end of last year for Cincinnati. That's why when he first went to New England, people were kind of excited about it. And then Gillislee came in. It changed that, but he averaged 4.6 yards a carry last year on 74 carries. So, it's not much to look at. He's going to be he's already in his 5th year though, so he's been around. He only had 13 carries his first 3 seasons combined before last year. So.
And you never know who's going to be in the doghouse, with the Patriots. I feel like there's at least one player that pretty much fumbles the ball twice or something like that, and all of a sudden they just get their carries cut completely. Mm-hmm. Opens it up for the next guy. So anything can happen in that backfield.
I would say chances are better than they're not, than that he will have at least 1 or 2 weeks where he's up there in points, 15 points fantasy-wise at least. Yeah. You know what's going to happen.
Yeah. That's why I don't.
You can't predict when it's
that's why I don't like the Patriots running backs either, because you don't know who's going to be when. But that's very, very true though. He absolutely could be, especially a deep sleeper.
Yeah, it's just a deep sleeper. He's a guy that if you're way down that list, again, you're not going to put him on your team unless you're in a really deep league and you have all these bench spots. But and you go down the list, and the funny thing is he's actually the highest player on my list, on my overall list here, 59th running back. So. Well, that's it. There's not much else to it. He plays with the Patriots. There's potential there because he's a great offense. Who's your number 4?
Number 4 is a running back and another rookie, actually. But this one is Donald Pumphrey. So this one's interesting because I feel like they kind of drafted the guy that's going to take over for the Sproles position. Yeah. So I don't think he's going to be an every down back by any means.
Yeah.
But Sproles is, 34? He's going to be 35.
I feel like he should fall off any day now.
So, right? And he's a speed back, so even more so. And he's tiny. Pumphrey seems like he's getting reps, so he could step right into that role. And on top of that, you do have a bruiser. They got Blunt, but you're not a big fan of Blunt.
Remember from our breakout podcast, I told you I'm done with Blunt?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm done with Blunt. I like this pick.
Yeah, you pair these two guys up, and really you're just waiting for injury. I mean...
Were you impressed with Smallwood last year?
I wasn't.
The blue I saw, I wasn't.
But that's my thing. I think he is one injury to Sproles, and Pumphrey is going to get a lot of playing time right off the bat. And who knows, maybe he's a little more versatile than I think, and maybe he'll score a few more touchdowns, and he would be very, very usable. So I'm picking him as my number 4 deep sleeper. He's one that you probably want to just keep an eye on, see what you hear about. Once again, probably not going to end up on your list, but he's kind of an intriguing player.
And that offense, I feel like, is going to be better. Wentz second year, Alshon's there. There should be a better offense. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's really not being talked about very much. I don't see a lot of people terribly excited about Wentz or Jeffrey or anybody on that offense. I think they'll be better, and overall, it just helps everything. It just helps the whole team. And Blunt, he's going to be on the goal line, and he's not going to be between the 20s there.
No.
So who is that going to be? And I'm not sold on it being Smallwood. I don't think they are either. If they were, why would they bring Blunt in? Why would they draft Pumphrey?
Yeah, and I think this guy he just has a lot of opportunity.
Where's he down? 92nd right now.
Yeah, if he comes and shows right away, he will get playing time.
No, I like that one because there's definitely potential there. All right, my number 4 is going to be Paul Richardson from Seattle. 77th ranked wide receiver.
Not expecting that one. All right.
Richardson.
Lay it on, man. Why do you like him?
I just picked a name out of a hat, Jeff. No. Okay, Paul Richardson. His stats, there's not much there. But really what he did was he came on towards the end of last year. He's going to be a fourth-year guy. So he pretty much lost his second year. He only had one catch, played one game. So that's where it kind of it's hard to really go off these numbers. You look at what he did at the end of last year. He's getting, again, it's not that impressive. He had 4 catches each of the last 2 games, basically. It wasn't like it was crazy, but you could see them starting to target him. He had 5 targets in second to last game and 7 targets in the next one. So he had 4 for 42, 4 for 40, and a touchdown. That's not crazy. That's not amazing at all. I understand, but I always thought there was some potential there with Richardson. I've seen it a little bit. I always kind of was looking at him deep in a dynasty league. And the bigger thing is Seattle, once you get past Baldwin, Jermaine Kearse is their number 2. Lockett, I brought up he's another guy who's in his 3rd year, but
he's been injury prone.
So Lockett could step into the number 2, but there's a chance that Richards could be their number 2 by the end of the year. And they were targeting towards the end of the year. They started to there. And it wasn't like they were out of it. They went to the playoffs. They're still a playoff team. And they started actually looking for him there. So, and they weren't there were these blowouts where they're just throwing him at the end of the games. They actually lost week 15 week 16 with him getting those targets, and they won by only 2 in the last game. So it wasn't like they're in these games where they're just throwing these rookies out at the end of or rookies, whatever. But it's just a potential guy there. He's way down the list. Obviously not predicting it. Probably not even going to. He won't even start the year on my dynasty bench probably. But
right.
There is some potential if you think Wilson's back, if you think Wilson can be a top guy. You don't think Wilson's a top 10 guy right now. Most people do though, and have him up to be a 6. If they think that, can Baldwin and Graham get all of the targets? Maybe, I guess.
They kind of have been.
Somebody has to jump in there.
You would think, yes.
I don't think it's going to be Pro-Size.
And we both agree that Russell Wilson, like most quarterbacks, especially he's a good quarterback, don't get me wrong. But the reason I don't have him in the top 10 is because he was propped up by rushing numbers, and those tend to go down as you get older. So can his throwing yards, touchdowns increase? to kind of make up for that, to keep the offense going in the right direction? Absolutely. He's a good quarterback. Yep. And if they do, they will have to find more targets. So I like that one. It's kind of a ballsy call, but it's because he's a little farther down the depth chart than you like.
It's just one of the few teams that's actually a good team that supposedly has a good quarterback, and Jermaine Kearse at number 2.
And Lockett, and you're right. And those two guys have not solidified themselves, even though they seem to have the talent.
If I was gonna pick Lockett Richardson, I'd pick Lockett, but I'm going deeper here and just say, Lockett's no lock here for the. I didn't mean to do that. I did not. Yes. Real cool there. Playing that one.
All right. I like it.
That's my number 4. Who's your number 3?
My number 3 is Chris Hogan.
Hogan.
New England. So the thing I love about this guy is not only is he like 87th in wide receiver right now, so he's way low, but he looks like he's going to be the wide receiver 3 in a Patriots offense that does not discriminate. He throws it to everyone. Yep. So you have Julian Edelman and Brandon Cooks. So you have two guys that tend to be short on the shorter side of wide receivers, but are both very, very talented at getting open. And we're thinking Cooks could probably be a little bit more of a deep threat. But Julian Edelman's really not. He's more of a middle of the field guy. And I think Hogan could step into a role. I mean, 6'1", 210. He's last year, first year with New England, 15 games, 680 yards and 4 TDs as who knows what he was ranked.
It's not that bad, really.
No, I mean, he was like the 5th wide receiver. I don't know. Yeah. You still have Malcolm Mitchell, though. You have that. You have a lot of stuff that you have no idea, right? But he has the talent. He's in a position that if you get Tom Brady's trust, you will be usable. I mean, even those numbers last year.
Yep.
You could have plugged and played him a little bit. It wouldn't have been a big deal. And he's all over the board. You never know when he's going to strike. But if he's more consistent, I kind of like him.
And that's why I had a New England running back. You have a New England receiver. It's not a bad thing to get, to look at players on a great offense that, hey, you don't know. There's a couple injuries ahead of him.
One injury.
If there's a couple injuries, I don't think the offense is going to suffer too greatly. It's still going to be good, and he will be fine there. So it's just he's way down the list.
Malcolm Mitchell is the biggest obstacle because it's very, very good. I mean, they're going to use both of them. Don't get me wrong.
He's the interesting one. I don't 100% know what he is.
Yeah,
I don't know yet. I don't
know.
Either. It's the New England thing. I mean, there's been these other guys in the last couple of years, and for some reason I can't even think of their names. I'm completely drawing a blank on the 2 receivers they had a couple years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think they still have Amendola too.
But not even they had a couple other guys that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just completely drawing a blank. Well, and that's once they left New England, you just kind of boom, you forget about them.
Yeah, I was gonna say Malcolm Mitchell. I feel like was still there.
Yep.
No idea. I don't know if they're on the team anymore.
I know this is great podcast stuff. I gotta look this up and just kind of see. But that's the thing. Like, I don't know if Malcolm Mitchell. How good is he actually?
Yeah, I don't know if the Patriots make all these guys better than what they are. And it's funny because the only thing about Malcolm Mitchell, he's younger than who I was just talking about. we're killing it right now. Than Chris Hogan.
Yeah,
so that's the crazy part is Chris Hogan, I believe, is 28. I think he's older than I think he is. Yeah.
But still, that's
fine.
Wide receiver, that's great.
But
it's still fine.
Chris Hogan is 28, and he was in Buffalo for 3 years before he went to New England, and he was kind of stuck in just purgatory on a team that doesn't really throw, and he got anywhere from, the last 2 or the second, third year, he got 41 receptions and 36 receptions. Yep. So they didn't really use him. So you don't really know what this guy's all about. And Malcolm Mitchell is very, very much like kind of the same guy, just younger, still 6'1", 200 pounds.
Yep.
And he almost has, and he was a rookie last year, but he almost has identical numbers. So if you're kind of guessing, but everyone's hyping Malcolm Mitchell up more, even though Chris Hogan has the inside track for wide receiver 3 right now.
And he had a couple of just really big games last year that, I think he's ahead of Amendola now, right? Like, for sure.
Yeah, I think Amendola is probably on his way out.
He's still there, though, so.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why I said we're not drafting these guys. The New England offense, man, it's just so
It's impossible to tell who's going to catch the hot hand. But if you do strike on these guys early, you'll be in a good position. So he's my number 3.
All right.
Who do you got?
All right. Well, before that, Aaron Dobson and Kembrell Tompkins.
Ah, that's who it was. That was killing me too.
Right? Like, remember those names now, but once they left New England.
Yeah, nobody's.
Is that Mitchell? We'll see.
Oh, yeah, we'll find out.
Number 3, DeAndre Washington.
Oh,
Oakland.
yeah, I like that.
He's
that pick.
the 69th ranked running back right now. And this had to make. I had to make this decision. Was it Washington or Richard for this spot?
I would pick Washington as well.
So, what's Marshawn Lynch? Is he going to be as good as he was? We don't know. That's it. That's the only reason. That's why Washington's here. I don't know. I don't know what to expect from Lynch. I think he'll be good, but he could easily come in there and get hurt right away or just not be the same guy. And it's more, if he's not the same guy, he's still going to get all the carries. It's if he gets hurt.
Yeah.
If he gets hurt, Washington could jump in to be the number 1 running back on I think it's a great offense. So and he's the 69th ranked running back. He's down there.
Is he already considered the 3rd down back?
I mean,
you would think he would.
We don't know how it's going to work.
Yeah, we don't know how to shake out, but he will get playing time anyway.
As a rookie, last year's rookie, 87 carries, 467, only 2 touchdowns, but 5.4 yards per carry. So, and they let Murray go, not knowing they were going to get Lynch for sure. There's probably they probably had that.
Right.
It was the idea that he could be, but they were perfectly fine if Lynch didn't come there with Washington,
and Richards. Yeah.
They were perfectly fine with that. So I had to pick one, and I think Washington's the guy.
I do too. I really like that pick.
I just think that's a player way down the list, almost 70th. Like, he could be a top running back out of all the guys in the top 20 running back wise, Lynch has, to me, probably the best chance to get injured. So he's way up there. Other than maybe McCoy, the older guys, McCoy, Murray, those kind of guys. But Lynch is older. So,
yeah, he is older. Yeah, so no doubt about it.
That's just where you got to watch that out. But if you're a Lynch owner, I think you should get Washington.
Yeah, it's a scary one for that handcuff because
you don't know for sure.
Both those guys will play if he goes down.
I guess I'm just saying it's Washington. That's who I would go for if I had to make a choice.
He's a great sleeper pick, though.
Number 2,
and it's a guy I feel like I keep hyping up, but it's a running back from Houston, Deontay Foreman. And I know I feel like every time I hear his name come up, everyone hates him. I don't know why, but I just feel like that's kind of the consensus of everyone. But he's a giant back, and I feel like everywhere he went to Texas, and everyone pushed him aside, and he won the Doak Walker. He ran for an obscene amount of yardage. He did great. So he was picked in the 3rd round, and the thing I love about this is he comes in a situation with his skill set. He can come in and contribute right away. So I think he's going to come in and be the goal line back. And I just don't see why you would put Lamar Miller there. Lamar Miller doesn't usually score that many touchdowns. He had the biggest bulk of carries he's ever had last year, and it didn't look like it actually helped his production that much.
Yep.
You can make a case for the quarterback situation, blah, blah, blah. But what it comes down to is Alfred Blue, who was number 2, had 100 carries last year.
I think Foreman's that guy now.
I think he's going to get more carries than 100, and I think they're going to use him very much so short yardage situations, and I think he can be a TD vulture like we've never seen before. So I'm really high on him. Once again, he is a sleeper still. Don't get me wrong. But I think he has an incredible amount of upside for a deep guy like this, where you can get where is he right now? For 66th overall in the running back.
I got a lot of crap for saying Lamar Miller's a top 5 safe player on our top 5 safe player episode. And so I guess the majority of the fantasy football community is with you and not me on this. So.
I don't know.
I've heard a lot of Foreman talk though too. Like
have you?
That, a lot of people are just saying to say he's not that good.
Yeah, they don't think he has the talent.
I'm not some huge talent evaluator here of guys in college. It's hard to translate that. I don't know how to translate that, but to put up those kind of numbers in the Big 12, I guess the Big 12's defense isn't that great. It's still Division I, top Division I.
You look at all these guys,
it's hard to say.
No, I mean, guys that come out of small schools or guys that were overlooked because of a number of reasons. Yep. I mean, there's a ton of them. I mean, starting with, Antonio Brown, even Flacco came out of a small school, and on top of that, you just never know. Usually, a lot of guys that are very highly sought after get thrust into the position. Deontay Foreman have no pressure whatsoever.
No, that's why he's a deep sleeper.
Yeah.
There's a chance. Miller was not productive really. He was okay and he was safe enough, like I said. Like if maybe Houston's not okay with that though. Maybe that safe and just okay, which I think is good for a running back 3, they could care less about, and they want a guy who's gonna be a lot better. So.
I do want to just point out once again, Lamar Miller, he did miss 2 games last year, and he with 268 rushes, he only got a little over almost 1,100 yards and only 5 touchdowns. So he recorded tied his lowest clip per average, so 4 yards a carry. So I think if you can cut his carries back, throw him the ball more, get him into the places he can succeed, and then pound it out with Foreman, I think they would be better anyway. So I keep thinking I just feel like this is the best thing for the team, and it'll work out for my fantasy as well. So I think it'd be good.
All right. Number 2 for me.
2 for you. I can't believe we haven't overlapped yet.
I don't know if we will. So maybe. Who knows? We'll see.
This is the one.
It has to be the one because you already know my number 1, I guess.
That's true.
Here it is. Number 2, Chris Conley.
No, we're not going to overlap.
And Chris Conley is right now ranked as the 82nd wide receiver, which to me is insane because is Tyreek Hill really the number 1? Yes, in theory, he's their best wide receiver, but in that traditional prototypical wide receiver 1, it's not Matt. Who is it? It's Chris Conley. At the very least, he's their second wide receiver. Yes, it's just Alex Smith throwing the ball, but someone like 82nd ranked for somebody who's guaranteed to be the number 1 or 2 on a team in receptions. And I don't see Tyreek Hill as a huge target guy. I think Chris Conley, it's going to be Travis Kelce. He is their main guy. But Conley, even last year, with Kelce getting all those targets, with Tyreek Hill coming on, with Macklin still there, 44 catches for 530 yards as a second-year guy. He went from 17 to 199 year 1 to 44, 530 year 2. He made a jump. You can see the progress. You can see the jump happening, and now he has less competition. So, as a deep sleeper, as the 82nd ranked guy, you can't find a guy with much more. He's going to be out there. It's just how much are they going to run the ball with him? Are you Spencer Ware, Kareem Hunt? I don't know how good they're going to be. Spencer Ware's okay. Everyone's hyping up Kareem Hunt, thinking he'll take over, but there's no guarantee. He went to Toledo. He went to a small school. There's no guarantee he's anything. He's still a third-round guy. I mean, I think Chris Conley at the very least should be ranked higher than 82nd. Maybe he should be more in the 60s. Maybe I don't know. I think that's really deep for a guy who's going to be a number 2 receiver. But really, I think in a wide receiver 1 role. So, but I guess he's the third guy getting targets. So I guess that's where he is.
It's very interesting though. But he could be their possession guy.
That's kind of what I'm looking at. And
I always worry about the thing I worry about Tyreek Hill is with all that speed to have a quarterback that's not known for his arm.
Yeah,
it's going to be a little bit frustrating for the guy, especially only in his second season. So having a guy that's 6'3", 200 like you were talking about, the prototypical kind of wide receiver that can run 15 yards down the field, turn back, and you can throw it to him. I kind of like that. To be honest, I completely overlooked this guy too. So.
I just picked him up in our Dynasty League just to let you know he's now on my roster. But that's just I like him. I do like him a lot actually for what his potential role is, and that you can get him you can go. I don't care how deep of a league you go, you still be able to get him for nothing. I think it's a little too far down. 82nd. I don't know. I guess people are just down. No one is in love with the Kansas City passing offense. Maybe Smith goes down, Mahomes comes in, changes everything.
Right.
That would, that's all potential. Could happen, but that's why they're deep sleepers. Who is your number 1 guy?
Number 1 deep sleeper is going to be one last rookie, actually. And once again, it's mixed between talent and the position he's in and how much opportunity he's going to have, and that's Zay Jones. Yeah. Zay Jones is currently ranked the 69th wide receiver.
That's deep there.
So he is, once again, 6'2", 200 pounds. He's on Buffalo, which is not, it doesn't throw the ball like a lot of the other teams in the league. But he's also number 2 already as a rookie. And his number 1 is Sammy Watkins. Definitely a talent, but he's always hurt. So he could step in and be a wide receiver 1 right away. And so he's going to get production that way. And on top of that, maybe he already has somewhat of size. But the thing is, the guy knows how to get open. He knows how to catch the ball. The guy had 158 receptions in his senior year. I know it's college, and I know he went to a smaller school.
What, East Carolina's everyone?
Yeah, 158 catches. Are you kidding me?
We started talking about that way back when we were getting ready for the draft, and we didn't know much about him. We saw the stats.
Yeah.
I know it's a small school, but, I mean.
It's ridiculous amount.
That's insane.
So, I mean,
that's crazy.
It's just one of those. And so, for some reason Watkins goes down, I don't care if he's ready or he's dropping balls or anything. It doesn't seem like he drops anything.
Even a healthy Watkins is only going to help him. I feel like he's just going to be. He's going to be productive. I think he's going to be.
He's going to have a large piece of this role, and he's not right now. He's currently not being drafted like that.
That's why I like these deep sleepers. There's some guys who really could be up there.
Yeah, Zay Jones is one of. That's why he's number one. He could end up on my team.
Yeah,
and him and Deontay Foreman. So that's why they were one.
All right, my number one. Not going to go too much into it. If you listen to our breakout episode last week, you can get the whole scoop. It's Marquise Lee. And that's kind of how Marquise Lee ended up on my breakouts, is going through breakouts. I was going through sleepers, and I was kind of going down the list, and Marquise Lee just kept jumping out to me. He's 71st ranked. And we went over the numbers. He only had 10 less catches than Allen Robinson last year. He's clearly, to me, taken over the number 2 spot from Allen Hurns. And I think the offense will be better overall. Not sure how much better, but I think Fournette helps him. Just helps. Yeah, that should maybe they say it'll be more of a running team, but I think that just helps. That helps passing. That just because you get good, I think it just helps the team. They'll be on the field more. Yeah. There'll be more opportunities for everybody.
I think you saw the decline of the touchdowns thrown by Bortles from last year to the year prior to that, and it was pretty drastic. And I think the run game will only help that because you're not just dropping back in coverage and trying to pick everything off. Yep. So, after looking at the stats from the last one, I was really surprised. He's very, very easy to overlook. Yep. But Marquise Lee finally creeping back after all that hype about, coming out of USC.
I guess he made it to both of my lists on these last couple of shows. So, 71st ranked, that's deep there. I think there's some good – that's why I think wide receiver, we say we're loading up at running back because you can get really, really, really far down this list and see guys that you think that there's actually some – chance that they could do something there. There's a lot more of that at wide receiver than running back. Yeah. So
and the thing that blows my mind, so a lot of these guys, obviously, mine are like rookies or man, they could make the big jump. You've legitimately found a guy, Marquise Lee, that was playable last year. That 850 yards and 3 TDs, right? So there was weeks where you could play him last year. Yeah. And he wasn't always the wide receiver too. So you're actually finding a guy you can get that late that, heck, he jumps up just a little bit and he's 1,006. That's a very playable guy.
Well, and that's why he's so far down. He's a deep sleeper because, maybe that is his ceiling. Maybe he will never get better than that. But when you look at a guy who was drafted in the second round and was a good college player, and we know there's talent there, these are the kind of guys that do break out in these third, fourth years. And so we keep hounding that third, fourth year receiver thing, but I just think that's something good to look at and just keep in mind. And that's how you're going to find a couple guys that, especially if you're in a keeper league, you get these guys for nothing. If they break out, you're setting your keeper league for however many years, with that. And I think he's just a good player. He has had some good weeks here that he was very playable. I'd say he had a couple of these weeks, he had a 7 for 107 week. Good game there. A 4 for 84, a 5 for 113, 6 for 86. That's just some of them, 5 for 75. There's a few the people are, I guess that's a problem. A lot of people don't get too excited about 7-8 point weeks, some of those 70 or 80, but
we have to start somewhere.
You got bye weeks and you have to fill it in. And sometimes I think Marquise Lee's a very safe player. Maybe he wouldn't make my top 5 safe players, but he has that potential to be a safe guy, and you're getting him for nothing. Yeah. Absolutely nothing.
And on top of that, the first 2 years he did battle with injuries. He missed 3 games, then he missed 6, 2015. And then, so last year he played all games, and he had to deal with the fact that Hurns was, he had to overcome the amount of playing time, amount of snaps he even saw. Yep. And the poor play by Bortles in the offense as well. So the fact that he already has the yardage makes me, kind of believe in the fact that he could easily make that next jump. Yep. And at his position, that is crazy value.
And if he breaks out and becomes somebody you play every week, I'll try not to bring it up every episode. So I'll just make sure, I'll bring it up once or twice. But that'll be it. Probably every recap. Hey, Marquise Lee, let's see what he did. But I think that's it. That's all I got for the deep sleepers. And what I'm excited about, I think we should do coming up, is super deep sleepers.
Get real into it.
Real, just way too into it. 100 plus.
It might be only 2 or 3 lists long.
Yeah, it's probably about true. Maybe we'll go you can get Geronimo Allison.
I love that dude, though.
Right? That's going to be a fun episode.
He was so good in the playoffs.
Marquise Goodwin. Those are all 100-plus guys. So
that's another good one.
That'll be something to look forward to.
Yeah, maybe we should, because I'd like both of those guys. They have legit opportunities.
I just don't know if we both can come up with top 5 lists for that. So
yeah,
might be a podcast top 5 once again. But we'll get to that probably. I think we will. That's actually kind of an interesting episode, especially for those dynasty leagues and those. That's more of like for dynasty teams. We got to get some more dynasty content out there.
True.
But we'll be back with some more episodes this week. We'll have some more 5-minute podcasts. Whatever. We still don't have a name. We'll come up with something for you guys. But we will talk to you guys next time.